podcast with you in 1997 sequel Jurassic Park, 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And today we're here to discuss minute 52 of The Lost World. And I'm sore. There's one thing worse than moving yourself. It's helping a friend move. And especially when that friend has double door fridges and freezers and washing machines and so I'm glad I can sit here and just use my one hand and a mouse to click down the run sheet because I'm stiff and sore and it hurts.
Yeah. Last Friday I was at work and they had me restocking shelves.
Yep.
And so in the back there's a set of stairs I must have went up and down at least 50 times.
Oh wow.
So I was getting in like probably, if I owned a Fitbit I would have gotten like 20,000 steps. And then yesterday I walked all around the city zoo. So.
Yep.
And they had this animatronic dinosaur exhibit they had going on. And it was like, it really, really ripped off Jurassic Park a lot. They had the exact sounds. The T-Rex looked exactly like it was from Jurassic Park. They had a raptor. The Utah raptor animatronic looked exactly like the Jurassic Park 3 male raptors, sans the quills.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Plagiarism's alive and living in rural America.
And it's not even rural. This is Chicago.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, and so yeah.
Oh,
and
very
they say plagiarism is the best form of, or they say copying is the best form of flattery. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, then I suppose if they're really faithful to the original designs, and hey, you can get a photo and.
Well, it wasn't. The T-Rex wasn't super faithful. The Raptors were very much so. You could see that they painted them exactly like San Winston Studios would have, with the yellow base paint and then throwing a brown paint over it.
Just they wouldn't have moved as well. Dinosaurs on a budget.
Yeah, budget Jurassic Park.
That would be the Bison Park, wouldn't it?
Yeah, really.
It says InJet on the side of that chopper. I don't get that. Why would Hammond send two teams?
Friday in the mail, I also got an Equity Toys T-Rex statue. I have the Raptor one from the Lost World that I bought at Comic-Con, and I've been wanting the T-Rex one ever since I found out that they made a T-Rex one too. Problem was, I paid $2 for the Raptor one at Comic-Con, and they usually go on eBay for like $20-25, which I was not paying for this little statue that's only about, I would even say 12 inches long.
Yeah. And
so a friend of mine, Rob Miranda, he's a big-time Jurassic Park collector, and he makes models and stuff, tipped me off to an eBay sale that was one for only like $12, and it was perfect, you know.
Mhm.
So
that's good.
Another item to add to my Lost World collection.
Yeah. No, it's good when you can sort of find little deals like that. On figures.
Robert Burke said that the T-Rex was a rogue who would abandon its young at the earliest opportunity. I know I can prove otherwise.
Quickly too, that's one bit of news that's happened this last week. Colin Trevorrow's off episode 9.
Yeah, this been causing a big stir in both the Jurassic Park and the Star Wars fandoms. A lot of people in Star Wars are glad that that Kathleen Kennedy didn't have him stay on the project. A lot of people in Star Wars or Jurassic Park are disappointed, and a lot of people both together. It's just a big bucket of mixed feelings about this. I know there's a lot of Star Wars fans. I'm a big Star Wars fan myself. Are happy that he's gone just because they found Jurassic World. It was only kind of mediocre. They didn't think it was as great as a lot of Jurassic Park fans do, and so I think that not guaranteed. Book of Henry was a big influence in the decision there, because I mean I know a lot of people who thought that that movie was just tasteless in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where he's gone and he's done a big box office film and it's made a lot of money. And then they've signed him onto other projects. He's gone and done his own little independent thing before ramping up on episode 9, and it hasn't done that well. Now, its success or failure shouldn't really be much of a sign, because you've got higher ups at Lucasfilm that are sort of steering the ship. I know one of the sort of complaints about Jurassic World from the Star Wars fans, I suppose, is just there's not really anything Star Wars in Jurassic Park to gauge how good he'd be at making the film.
Now that's where I kind of disagree with, because I mean, the official story of why he was fired was because he was getting arrogant and not following directions. And I think I don't trust that story, because now I personally always found him to be genuine, but he's still kind of a bit of a... I've always gotten this kind of tone from him where he seems to be like an anti-establishment hipster kind of guy. I'd say that's bad, but I mean... The Star Wars was always based on the anti-establishment.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought would be perfect for... He was perfect for Star Wars, was because Star Wars has always been anti-establishment. It's always been screw the man, fight the power, stuff like that, you know? And so Kathleen Kennedy has always been kind of the epitome of the establishment in Hollywood. So I'm not sure if she's always been... I've always been unsure if she was the best choice for heading Lucasfilm. And that's not just... my biases of her and her involvement with Jurassic Park 3 doesn't even come into that.
Oh, mine do. I don't think she's changed one bit since Jurassic Park 3. I've made my dislikes pretty much public on various groups. That you want a finger or someone to point at for Jurassic Park 3, she's the one, and she's come back and she's done exactly the same thing with Rogue One. But it's just, yeah, this is the second director now gone. We had the issue with the Han Solo film as well, where it's being quoted as creational differences, or whatever you want to say it. But that
one I definitely sided with Kathleen Kennedy on that one, because she hired... I would point the finger to her in the first place, because she's the one that would have hired these two comedy directors and then expect them not to make a comedy. You know?
Yeah. Well, you want a sort of a comedic writer to go over the script to enter or put jokes or sort of stuff in where needed. You don't want an actual comedy for the film. You just want comedic beats in it. But being Han Solo too, you'd want a lot of physical comedy, like... I'm thinking of Indiana Jones, where he runs into a cave and yells at someone and turns around and 100 people come running back at him. But, it's sort of... it's interesting too, because production was supposed to start on Episode 9 in January, I think, so... a little bit behind.
They got J.J. Abrams back on it. He did number 7, and now he's doing 9. He's gonna finish off the trilogy.
I love how there's a collective sigh of relief, and people and fans are just sort of coming back to the backstop for Episode 7. Oh well, at least it was nostalgic. I go, well, no. So was Jurassic World. Jurassic World was very nostalgic.
I know, and that's kind of my problem with both Jurassic World and The Force Awakens, is that they're very safe films. Jurassic World in particular is basically the CEO shows up to the island, Big Bang Theropod breaks out of the enclosure, attacks main tour vehicle, stranding 2 children out in the middle of the jungle, making them hike their way back to the main compound. And the ending involves raptors and a T-Rex, you know?
Yeah.
It's stuck. They're stuck on an island. It's very formulaic, and I think that the parts where Jurassic World breaks the formula are its best parts. Like, for example, the lack of a rain scene was bold and it worked for the movie. The lack of, or the I-Rex attack in the daylight was bold and it worked for the movie, you know?
Yep.
And so it was where it broke the mold that I thought was the better parts of the movie. And so I can really see why Trevorrow wants to get away from the islands in the next couple movies. It's been done.
Well, yeah, exactly. And as big a fan of the islands as I am, we can move off to another location and see where we go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's the same issue with sort of episode 7 as well. Just, hey, the formula worked. They made a lot of money. We can't really sit here and say, well, they weren't good films because they didn't make money. But being a Transformers fan, the films don't have to be good to make money.
Yeah. But that's another thing, is that Crichton always kind of had this thing where the dinosaurs got to the mainland, and there was always a subplot to the books that he wrote. But it's like the stories that he wanted to tell never quite could have the dinosaurs on the mainland, you know? It was in Jurassic Park and it was in The Lost World. And so dinosaurs on the mainland was really something that would have been cool, that I think Crichton would have wanted, but just could never find a story to tell it, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if there might have been a third novel eventually that went into it, but
I doubt it, because Crichton didn't write sequels, really.
Yeah.
He only wrote The Lost World because fans and Spielberg really begged him to.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. He wrote that, then as a novel writer, especially being asked by Spielberg to do that, then to change it as much as they did, I probably wouldn't have been very happy about it. But yeah, even in Jurassic Park, where the animals are getting off the mainland, it's only to Costa Rica. It's not New York City or anything like that. And sort of, you could
San
still,
Diego.
or you could still film in Hawaii and make it and have it Costa Rica. Hell, we've seen the Nedry and Dodgson scene at the start's on Hawaii as well, and not Costa Rica. You could make anywhere look anywhere on film. Even the old Six Flags in Orlando, to make it look like Main Street and that, and just CG in the background. So, so yeah, you could do something like that and still be in the jungle, but not on the island. But then you've still got the same. Well, it might not be the island; it's still dinosaurs or people running from dinosaurs in the jungle. So, I hope it plays something. You know, we've sort of seen with the raptors out in the open in their pen, the CG's not quite there yet to have have a pack of raptors. Well, maybe not in the redwoods, but just in an open area, an open prairie or something, hunting down a pack of a herd of Triceratops or something. It's just, we're not there yet.
Well, as I was telling a friend of mine the other day, with CGI, I always thought that the frame CGI was superior to what they do now, where they build the skeleton, overlay muscle, and then skin, and then color it. I always thought that the frame that they used in the first two movies here was superior. It kind of added this kind of weightiness to it. I'm not really sure how to explain it. I'm not a computer guy.
Yeah.
But I always felt it was superior, and it's just not there organically anymore right now.
Yeah.
It's what they use right now is still kind of newish. It's only a couple years old, and so I don't think that it's there where you can build an organic creature just from the ground up. Now, that's not to say that you can't do the same with motion capture. Motion capture has been done since the early 2000s, and it's beautiful. It really does well. The Planet of the Apes looks fantastic. The Tarkin CGI in Rogue One looks fantastic.
Oh, we're gonna disagree on that one.
All right.
Yeah. It's fine until he speaks, but okay. But
it looks fantastic. Is the point? Is that motion capture? It's they got it perfect right now. But the ground up full CGI from a skeleton just isn't there. It is there for non-organic objects like, say, Star Destroyers and starships and all that kind of stuff, but if you want to make a CGI creature, I don't know.
Oh yeah, like the CG's there for ships and vehicles. Like those Star Destroyers in Rogue One looking like they're put together with model kits, just like the originals, was fantastic. But with the motion capture, that's sort of more people or apes, where you're sort of humanoid. I haven't looked into it, but I'd assume that a bipedal theropod doesn't have the same hip movement as a person bent over going rah that does the impersonation of a dinosaur, so you're going to have a little bit of an issue there. But I think maybe it's just the skins and the rendering that's.
Well, it really doesn't, but that's another thing, is that they did use some motion capture for the raptors.
Yeah.
In Jurassic World, and it just, I don't know, something about it looks too humanoid. You're right. It does have that kind of humanoid structure to it. And raptors are reptiles. They don't have that kind of basic structure as a humanoid at all.
Yeah.
You know?
I suppose it doesn't help also having that image of 4 dancers in grey spandex and a little raptor head on their top, looking up at Owen and the mouse, the little rat. Like, I can't get that out of my head. Now, whenever I see that scene, I just see the 4 dancers. I don't see the raptor pack.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we got an episode to talk about. Before we get into minute 52 briefly, a couple of minutes ago, David, you discussed the runtime and how many episodes it'd be. I said 208 minutes. It's not 208 minutes. It's 2 hours and 8 minutes.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I figured you meant.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're not going to be here for another 150 minutes. So
when I was trying to do the math in my head, I mean, so 2 hours would be 120 minutes, so that'd be like, what, 129 minutes?
Yeah, 128, 129, I think. So we're slowly reaching that halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and again, we've got the big trailer sequence coming up, which is the main action sequence in the middle of the film. So, but yeah, let's get into it with 52.
All right.
As we entered minute 51 of The Lost World, something very large was moving through the foliage below the high hide. As we open minute 52, the large creature continues to push through the foliage, past the high hide, and towards the trailers. At 51 minutes and 17 seconds, we cut to Ian Malcolm sprinting through the foliage, desperate to get back to the trailers. At 51 minutes and 32 seconds, Malcolm throws open the door of the trailer and runs inside, grilling Sarah and Nick about not picking up the phone. He runs over to the baby and attempts to pick it up, saying we need to get this thing out of here. At 51 minutes and 38 seconds, there's a loud crashing sound, and the three look out the trailer window to see the M Class Mercedes rolling past and off the cliff. Ian looks at the others. Mummy's very angry. At 51 minutes and 48, Ian starts to look out the window again to find the source of the commotion outside. Nick and Sarah follow his gaze, not noticing the large shadow appearing in the window behind them. At 51 minutes and 58 seconds, we hear a growl from the shadow. Ian spins, and a Tyrannosaur head comes into focus. This ends minute 52 of The Lost World. Alright, we open up here straight from minute 51 with something big moving through the jungle, the forest below the high hide. You got foliage or trees breaking, snapping, and I just love the effect of the birds flying out of the canopy and shrieking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that appears in every Jurassic Park movie, is these white CGI birds squawking in the background. And in the first movie, I think they appeared on the the Brachiosaurus's backs when they're moving out of the water in the first reveal shot in the Welcome to Jurassic Park shot.
Mm-hmm.
Then they happen here, and also later on when the T-Rex parents crash the riverbed camp in the later part of the movie, you can hear them squawking out of the trees. You don't actually see them, but you can hear them squawking and the wings flapping. Jurassic Park 3, I think they're also on the backs of the Brachiosaurs, and I think they might fly out of the trees when the Spinosaurus runs out of the trees and when they're chasing after the party
And
after the plane crash.
And they say the movies don't have any flow between them.
Yeah, really. I can't remember where they are in Jurassic Park 3 or Jurassic World, but I remember somebody pointing them out that they're in there.
Yeah. No, that's a great little thing to carry over too.
Yeah.
And it is something that's in the pre-San Diego script, so it was carried over from that. So it's not really a Spielberg thing. It's someone else in production that wanted to put that there. It might even be just someone working in the CGI department. No one's going to notice this.
Just somebody's signature, you know?
Yeah. But we got them, the T-Rex, or the big animal, we know it's a Rex, they sort of move under their high hide, walk straight past. I would have loved to just get a shot down, and just like a shadowy, maybe just a hint that there's more than one.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see. Would be like just like a shadowy movement of scales under the treetops, you know?
Yeah, just sort of two tails disappearing out of the clearing below them or something. It would have taken away from the suspense we get in a minute when they reveal themselves, but it would have been just a little hit. It would be, what, there's more than one? And they walk right past and ignore the M Class, obviously. Last time we seen it was down there, it had its lights on. We talked previously about the high hide being painted and how the paint would have smelt. I'd imagine the car would have had an odour as well.
Oh, and I don't doubt, no.
Because we get later when Eddie's trying to stop the trailer going over the cliff, the M Class is clearly gas driven and not electric. So
yeah, you hear the engine revving. Yeah,
which might be just an issue with the sound design. They might have had that there just to show the effort being put in to try and stop the trailer going over the cliff. But yeah, these things were supposed to be electric. But we had the great scene in the novel where the T-Rex sort of identifies the Explorer as being something foreign, and it backs up and marks its territory on the hood. Which
I love that part of the novel.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's about it, but I love it.
Yeah,
it's funny.
It wouldn't be right to have it here, but just some sort of acknowledgement. We can see the high hide sort of jerking and jumping a little bit with each footstep as the animals, as they sort of pass underneath. There's something we didn't talk about previously as well. There's it looks like Eddie's got a separate cable actually holding the high hide there, and it's going to be needed later on because the M Class isn't going to be attached to it, so he can save the day. But he's got the little hand winch there too, which is only good for about 6 feet of lift. No, you don't get a lot of cable on that, so I don't know if that was just to secure it to another anchor cable. Or...
I wonder if it's got like a pair of, or just one single cable even, just going from branch to branch and holding up the high hide.
Yeah, it might be stabilising it too so it doesn't swing in the wind.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
As people walk around. It suggests, however, that to get up there, and we've seen him lift it up before, everyone would have had to rappel to get up to it, and then rappel down. Because if it's fixed up in the tree, it's the only way up is to climb up and then climb down. We don't see a ladder; it's only the sort of the rappelling ropes. So that would have been a little comedic scene, seeing Richard Schiff try and rappel up to the high hide. But we get here, they walk under the hide and keep on moving through the forest away in the opposite direction. Again, calling back to the novel, I would have loved to just see the trailers in the dark, sort of lights of the trailers reaching out into the darkness.
Oh yeah, that would have been a really cool shot.
Yeah, but I suppose as we seen earlier, where they set up camp there, it's sort of they're backed up against the trees. The only way you can see the camp in the open is from the cliff edge. So if they'd done that, I'd probably be complaining now that the geography's all out of whack. But yeah, we had that concept art. It would have been great to see. But this cuts to Ian running through the foliage, getting absolutely drenched. the rain stopped, but it's just good to hear all the water sort of falling off the foliage as he's running through it. It's a nice little detail. And then we cut back to inside the trailer. Sarah wants to give the baby an injection and get it out of here. It's Ian in the pre-San Diego script that goes to answer the phone or answer the radio, but Sarah tells him to get the syringe. Cut back to Ian running through the mud. I'd say sort of not delicately, but carefully. He's sort of running. You don't want to slip over when you want to stop on mud.
No. No, I know from experience, definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah, it just seems weird the way he's run, but I suppose again because he just hurt his leg, he'd be sort of limp running. But he cuts him running into the trailer, and would have killed you to pick it up for once in your life, referring to Sarah not picking up the phone, which makes me wonder if she's never answered the phone for him that often before.
We see at the beginning of the when Ian is in the Eddie's shop and he's trying to contact Sarah on her satellite phone, she does not pick it up at all.
Okay, so it is a callback to that.
He's not worried whatsoever.
Okay, it is a callback to that scene where she's in the she's watching the hyenas and doesn't answer the phone.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so it's just something again that probably didn't need to be, or it could have been changed since they cut that earlier stuff out. Ian goes straight over and tries to pick the baby up. Sarah, no, we just said it's broken leg. And then we get a crashing sound from outside, and the three turn to face a window, and get one last look of the M Class rolling by as it topples over the cliff.
Yeah. There's a cut line here that was featured in the trailer, where Sarah asks, "What is it?" And then Ian delivers the famous line, "Mommy's very angry."
Yep. Which is a great little line. Still only sort of luring or hinting at the one Tyrannosaur on the scene, but it's interesting too, the sounds when the M Class goes over the cliff. It sounds like it explodes, but it could be just the sound of it hitting the surf as well. I think the sound travels a little bit too easily on this island. But Ian stares out the window and as anticipation grows. And he sort of does that Jeff Goldblum slow breathing that he does in so many films. And then we get a shadow appear in the window behind him, out of focus. And it growls, and he sort of turns around and, oh crap. But,
yeah, I always love that curvature we get of the jaw as it just enters the frame of the window.
Yeah, we get the silhouette to start with, or the shadow, and then it sort of comes into focus after the growl. But that's for minute 53. It's sort of interesting too. All this happens the same in the pre-San Diego script with the T-Rexes emerging. But in that script, Nick actually gets he must be close to his camera bag and changes out the tape in his camera because it's in with arm's reach, and actually turns the camera on and puts it on his shoulder because it's one of those big shoulder-mounted cameras in the pre-script. So he's not seeing the danger in this. He's filming everything. Even in the next minute as the baby's released, he's sort of looking for the best shot to get footage of Ian and Sarah releasing the baby for the documentary.
Well, as a video documentarian, who has been in Bosnia and Serbia and all those war-torn countries there, he would be used to running head-on into danger while everybody else is running away, you know?
Well, that's it, yeah. Yep, that's true. But it's also interesting too. It's sort of that's the reason once they get the footage of the T-Rex being released to the parents. It's they're all like, yep, that's it. We've done what we need to come here now. Let's call the boat and get out of here. Instead of Ian trying to get Kelly out of there as well. And I suppose it's a sign of the times too. Like if this was made now, there'd be internal surveillance system in the trailer or something. There'd be internal cameras anyway, so they could have got all this on tape anyway, or on camera. But if there's anything else you want to mention about 52?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's get the hell out of here.
Contact details are on the website, thelostworldminute.com. You can email feedback to thelostworldminute@gmail.com, Facebook, The Lost World Minute, Twitter @thelostworldminute, and Instagram, The Lost World Minute.
Easy to remember.
Yeah, very easy to
Right.
remember. David, thank you for joining me for this record.
You're welcome.
And we'll be back. I've been Brad.
I'm Dave.
And we'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
It is absolutely imperative that we work with the Costa Rican Department of Biological Preserves to establish a set of rules for the preservation and isolation of that island. These creatures require our absence to survive, not our help. And if we could only step aside and trust in nature, life will find a way.